Hey there, folks. I'm Matt Hansen,
And I'm John Johnson.
and you're listening to Planes, Trains, and Comic Books, the podcast where we discuss favorites we've reread, both classic and new comics we want to read, and everything else in between.
And here's the comic we picked this week.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Planes, Trains, and Comic Books. Today, we are diving again into the world of Star Wars. And this time, it was the Patreon-voted book that was called Star Wars Vader Dark Visions.
Don't sound so excited, Matt Hansen.
I'm very excited, as always, with Star Wars.
You know how much he loves Star Wars. I appreciate y'all for putting up with us sometimes with our themes, but for doing Star Wars Month was fun. I thoroughly enjoyed this, so thank you.
Yeah, and I'll say, having no idea what this was, I was pleasantly surprised while reading it. So, if I got to read a Star Wars comic, I'll take this, which is basically like, besides the last two issues, the first three issues were like, oh, this could be like any property, and it just happens to have Darth Vader in it or whatever. But like not in a bad way or anything, just like, okay, like I'm on board with this. I have some questions for you, John, while we go through it, like in the characterization of Vader.
Okay, see if I can answer them.
As we know him in the movie, he's just a merciless guy until what, 3? Not episode 3, but
Are you talking about Return of the Jedi?
Return of the Jedi, yeah. So Return of the Jedi is where he gets like his redemption, but prior to that, he's just ominous guy in black suit choking people and stuff, right? And murdering people.
Yes, he's definitely more of a dark stoic character, but he's got some nuances. Like you kind of see the transition from Anakin to Vader, and then like some of the stuff in some of the animated and some of the newer properties. But anyway,
okay, yeah, and this is a newer book, right? So it would take into account all those other properties, not just the first 3 movies.
Exactly. Not just your Star Wars where you stopped.
Yeah,
I know you've seen
good
ones.
So we should say, like we said, this was voted on by the patrons. So thank you once again to our patrons: Hoku, Otaku, Mike, Christian, Matthew, Kyla, Joseph, Kalia, and Isaiah. You guys are awesome. And if you would like to be a Patreon member and vote on the second episode of each month, you can do so at patreon.com/Planes, Trains, and Comic Books. But we had a couple good ones up there for the poll this month. But this one, if it wasn't the one that was written by John Ostrander, which I believe was the Legacy one, and I love pretty much everything written by Ostrander, so I was down for that. This one seemed to be the other good choice.
Well, maybe we'll still read the other one, Matt.
Yeah, maybe down the line we will. We could do like an Ostrander month where we read like Grimjack and then this or something. Or we've already read The Spectre by him, but he did Suicide Squad too. So,
oh hell yeah,
it's got a lot of good stuff. But this is written by Dennis Hallam, and then there's a bunch of artists because there's a different artist for each issue. Speaking of that, like, what did you think of that, having the artists be different in each issue?
I thought it was fun. I think the art was like very serviceable. There were one or two that definitely like were really good. It was like, oh yeah, this is badass looking. But yeah, I mean that definitely didn't take away. Because again, I think going into it, I knew that this one was about like different takes on Vader, like how he's perceived differently.
So you knew the premise of this. I did not.
Yes. Oh, okay. Yeah, that I did know the premise of this one. So I guess maybe I had a little bit of a leeway going into that.
Yeah, I just thought it was going to be like a straight, 5-issue storyline, but it was not. It's actually, each issue is kind of a standalone story of, like you said, different viewpoints from different characters about Darth Vader. So it was kind of interesting in that way. And it kind of threw me at first because I'm like, wait, what? Because the first issue is like, there's this planet, and at one time it was thriving and stuff, and there was great like cities and whatnot, but then this monster comes and kind of starts killing everything on the surface. And what's the name of this thing? The monster?
The Ender.
The Ender. That's right. So this Ender, literally, they call it that, I assume, because it ended their civilization and they have to live underground. So it's kind of like the Dune sandworms or something.
Yeah.
Um, and so this kid, like, he risks going up top because it's so nice to get into the sun. Like, he could die, but he's willing to risk it. And he gets some fruit and stuff. He's hanging out, and he looks up in the sky and he sees like some kind of space battle going on in space above him. There's explosions and whatnot, and he's like, "I wonder what's going on up there." And then we cut to what's going on up there, and there's a giant, you know, Starfleet battle between the Rebel Alliance and the Empire, um, which I thought that was kind of fun. And in the middle of that battle, Darth Vader's TIE fighter gets shot down or damaged, and he has to crash land on the planet. And this kid or this young guy sees it, and he's like, "Oh my god! I like there's this thing came out of the sky. I gotta go like see what's going on with it before it says like it's heading straight for the Ender. So I guess the Ender's like chilling, just happens to be chilling right where Darth Vader's TIE fighter's going, and so Darth Vader gets out of his ship and immediately it's like almost like Monstro from Pinocchio, where there's just like a giant eyeball staring at him as he gets out of his TIE fighter. And this is where I was like, wait, what's going on? Like, because it was kind of a weird way to start with the kid, but I'm like, okay, like, it's his planet. Then we got the space battle. I'm like, okay, we're in Star Wars. I'm feeling it. And then like when the Ender wakes up, it's basically just a big fight scene between Darth Vader and the Ender. And it's pretty epic, but it was weird because from the kid's point of view, this like local native kid, Darth Vader is like a knight in shining armor. He's battling the Ender and he's, you know, gonna save his people because if the Ender gets killed, his people can return to the surface. So that's how he's viewing it. He's like, this Black Knight came out of nowhere and, had a shining red sword and, took this thing on. So I'm going to ask you, John, like, what do you think about this characterization of Vader? Like, he's not necessarily nice to the kid, but he doesn't, like, kill him or anything.
Yeah, I thought it was cool seeing it because him in that light. I thought like that's the perfect way to open this because you expect everybody to have a position of Vader to be evil or some kind some version thereof, being a bad guy. So for him to like come off as this knight in shining armor, black armor, but
I mean, he literally rides whatever the version of this planet's horse is, and he takes on this Ender thing like a knight,
yeah, and this Ender thing is like kaiju large, like
Yeah.
he's a big monster, big eyes, kind of like a weird pointy shark head ish thing, and claws and stuff. So I mean, yeah, and it really like and it takes Vader a bit, but also I think at least from again some of the side experiences. I mean, and even in the other movies, pretty much when users of force power come into with some kind of local wildlife that is not on that's trying to attack them, it's usually some kind of put up battle, but usually the people with the lightsabers and the force win. So
That is true. That to me felt real, but this thing was pretty gigantic for one man to handle.
that, and that's because he's Darth Vader.
Even though he's Darth Vader, I still think it was a little bit crazy.
I mean, it is. I mean, the level of this is like it's like if Godzilla and Darth Vader fought. Like that would be a little.
Yeah, that's why I'm like it's a little too much because like think of like in the Power Rangers before they transform or before they get their Zords. It'd be like if they are fighting, Rita's big monster after he's grown, and it's like it's too small.
I agree with that to a point, but then also I was gonna say, and again, this is because it's going a little more. I think depending on your your knowledge and how you tactically go against it. Because I mean, for this, he also jumps into his fucking mouth to like you know get inside of his like harder outside armor. So, and I was gonna say there have been instances of that in Star Wars too, as far as like being inside of something and like it being more vulnerable in there. Like they don't kill it, but there's a space worm in Empire Strikes Back. There's the Sarlacc pit. Then in the Mandalorian series, they
Yeah, but the Starlight Pit just kills people. It doesn't.
well they slowly digest for thousands of years, but if you can get out of there,
Well, yeah, but nothing. Like what I'm saying is, no one like Boba Fett doesn't shoot it and it doesn't kill it. You know what I mean? Like, or Luke doesn't go inside of it and kill it.
true. In the Mandalorian, he fight they have a bunch of them that fight a crate dragon, and which is quite a large creature. It's like a sandworm ish dune creature, and uh, they do end up getting him. So I mean, but that took quite a few people, and then the Mandalorian finally
I'll take your word for it.
that. I mean, that's a series. The Mandalorian is definitely one you should watch. It. I mean, I think that one's up your
I
alley.
saw the first season. I was fine. That was all. That was all I needed to see. It was fine. I mean, it was space western. Whatever. I don't need any more of that. I can get better versions of that. I'll watch Serenity. All right.
Oh, how dare you!
I'll watch
Serenity is
Serenity.
amazing. I can't say that, but I'm a sucker for Star Wars. So, but it is cool to see Vader like winning for this. He like slices the thing's throat, and like I love the sun's glaring, and like he just like walks over it, and the sun's like shining behind him. Tie fighters coming down to like pick him up finally, and the kid just like
Yeah.
whoa.
Now, I was gonna ask, did you think he would like would Darth Vader let this kid live?
Yeah, I don't think if if the plan isn't already in control of the empire, I don't think that would have been a big deal, or it would be something where he would be like it next would be like if it was in control of the empire, yeah, I don't think he would do anything because I don't think Vader kills people randomly unless it would be like to make a point to someone else also like
Like if they were a
their
rebel planet, he would have obviously. But this is
exactly
just some
yeah.
random backwater planet that he doesn't care about. So, okay.
Exactly. So I give him that. He just like, and he doesn't even really. He's not like good going kid or whatever. Like you're lucky. Well, yeah, I guess
He just says the Force was with you today.
yeah,
So,
because he was there. So yeah, I mean, I was fine. I liked it. And then later he's like, oh man, yeah, he telling his friends about the guy who the knight who killed the Ender and has like brought peace to their planet now.
yeah. So by the end of this issue, I thought, okay, this is a fun series. I enjoy this one shot format. You don't get many series that have this nowadays. So, if I got to read a Star Wars comic, this is the best way, I think, because if you're not liking the story, the next issue you might like. It might be, it's a different story. So, but this one I thought was fun. I liked it a lot. Now, the second story I loved. I was like, I fucking love this, right? So, this is about a general who, unfortunately, a rebel spy escapes with some plans, and he was supposed to have, or I don't know if he's a general, but he's a commander of this ship. His name's Commander Tylux, and he like on his watch, a rebel spy escapes with some plans for something. I don't know, some factory or some shit. Um, and it's like a key factory, and it's very militarily important. And so like we can't let him escape. And then like as he's thinking about this, all of a sudden he gets like a radio transmission, and they're like, "Oh, Lord Vader will be here momentarily, in a little bit to come pick up the spy. He wants to interrogate him." And this guy's like, "Oh my god, oh no," because failure is unacceptable. And then he has a flashback to. Now, was this scene actually in the movie or something? Like this direct scene that he flashes back to?
No, but I mean it's very reminiscent of a couple scenes like that in the movies. I mean, like basically someone does something either doesn't do what they're supposed to or is arrogant and is does disobeys orders or thinks they're doing something good and isn't. And Vader's like, yeah, that's not gonna work, and kills
You
them,
did.
and then puts the
Force kill.
yeah, and then is like, hey, you second in command, you're in command now. Don't fucking fail, or you just saw what will happen. And that's what this guy has. He has PTSD of seeing his.
Yeah, and he went from like lieutenant to commander because literally Darth Vader strangled everybody at the table with the Force that was like the next ranks above him. So like I'm assuming he killed the commander, he killed the assistant commander or whatever the fuck that would be called, the major, the everybody until he gets to Lieutenant Tylux, and then he's like, "Now don't fuck it up, Commander Tylux. You're the commander now." And he's like, "Oh shit." So this guy's just like hyper freaking out that like we have to get this guy, like this spy or whatever. So they're like, "But sir, he's on this ship. He already went into hyperspace." And Tylux is like, "I don't give a fuck. You go into hyperspace. You chase him. We kind of know where he went, like which area. So we'll go there." So they take the whole. It's a Star Destroyer, right? That's what. Okay, so he takes the whole Star Destroyer to chase this tiny ship, and it turns out they end up where like an asteroid belt is, and they're like, "Sir, we can't go in there." He's like, "Don't worry, we're gonna like kind of not go fully through it, but we need like he's got to be around there somewhere." They see the guy, and they're like, "There he is." And the guy takes off, and they send out their TIE fighters to get him.
Every TIE fighter.
The Star Destroyer is like waiting on the edge of this asteroid belt because it will get too much damage if it tries to go inside the asteroid belt. But the TIE fighters are able to get inside and chase this ship. So they actually do hit it, and it does kind of like have to go to the planet below, and the TIE fighters chase it. But he is able to basically kill all the TIE fighters. Like this spy is a very good pilot apparently. So he kills all the TIE fighters, and then Tylux is like, "We gotta go after him." And his second in command's like, "But sir, we can't. Like, we can't go through the asteroid belt." And he's like, "Fuck it. Like, I'm gonna get killed if we don't go through this asteroid belt." So they chase him. Then there's an asteroid with one of those worms in it. What are those things called?
I was Space Slug. I don't know if they have an official name.
Whatever. The ones that are inside the asteroids. The spy goes inside of that thing's mouth, and it's a tiny ship. So this space slug is just, able to swallow it no problem. This is my favorite part of this whole fucking trade collection. Tylux is just like, follow him into the monster's mouth with the giant Star Destroyer. And just the image of the entire Star Destroyer getting shoved into this space slug's mouth is hilarious. I could not stop laughing.
It is one of the best comic pages I've ever seen. I agree.
Yeah, and they basically just like punch through the worm's, body, because they're going super fast. And eventually, they think they're gonna get him, but they've taken too much damage. The spy gets away, and their Star Destroyer begins to fall apart. And Tylux has to abandon ship. He's about to get into his escape pod, and as he does, we see that in the meantime, Darth Vader's TIE fighter has gotten on board just in time to see Tylux fail. And then you see him walk up to Tylux as he's about to enter the escape pod, and he's like, "Failure is unacceptable." And then you see him pull out his lightsaber. I was like, "Fuck, man, that's awesome!" What a great issue! This is exactly what like a one-shot issue should be of kind of Star Wars or any property really. But this was just insane. And I said like it could be for like any series. This one felt like it couldn't, because you have to know enough backstory on Darth Vader to like for it to really hit the funny bone, to get the joke across. So I liked that. I thought this felt the most like it rings true to like what his, what the commanders would feel like around Vader, because he's literally murdered everybody. So I thought that was interesting. But yeah, what do you think of this issue?
Oh yeah, I can't imagine what the Empire goes through in officers, because because it's ridiculous. And yeah, this was perfect. I like you said, the him being like, "I don't fucking care. Like, we're taking the big ship through." That is amazing. And then yes, like seeing him like they had the I like that they had the Minox were inside of the space worms, so that was a little nice little callback to Empire. And yeah, just for him to like be there standing on the bridge and being like, God damn it, I failed. And you know, at least basically, I guess at least there's that, we're being destroyed, so I guess maybe Vader won't be here. But then him, like sitting there, and then Vader walking on board, it was like, just perfect.
Yeah, chef's kiss.
Exactly.
Yeah, so now the third issue I thought was great as well. This one didn't have to be specific to Star Wars, I don't think, like as much as the second one did. But I thought it was a fun story nonetheless, because this one is about a crazy lady.
The last one and this one, they're both incredible stories.
Yeah, I thought this one was like, I had no idea this was gonna go like this way, Yeah, this one is like, Glenn Close from what's that movie where she goes crazy after
Fatal Attraction.
Fatal Attraction. This is Fatal Attraction or something, or like Single White Female. But for Darth Vader, this woman who works in the like as a nurse or whatever in the infirmary, she falls in love with Vader because after every battle he comes in. This was almost like the song "The Nurse Who Loved Me" by Failure, or the cover that was done by A Perfect Circle. It's like that, but from a girl's point of view, as she's in love with Vader. So as Vader comes back from every battle, of course he's got to go to the infirmary. Also, like I think it's funny that he has to go to like the infirmary for like new parts. Like he just like lays down on the bed or the chair or whatever, and they like replace capacitors and shit like in his chest. I think that's funny, but like she's imagining like Vader's in love with her. He walks by her and she's like, "Oh my god, he looked at me," but he didn't see her at all. So like, and everybody else around him is freaked the fuck out, much like the captain in the last issue, except her. She's like in her own dream world about Vader. He's like threatening people, and she's like, "He's so strong." Like, and then possibly the creepiest thing ever is, when he's done getting his treatments, he leaves, and there's like little bits of him left, like little chunks of flesh or pieces of robot parts that were like, bloody from being plugged into him, and now they were removed and they're just sitting on the floor. She'll like take that. She has like a trinket box of like Darth Vader parts. Fucking disgusting.
Souvenirs of our unspoken love. Forget me nots.
Forget me nots. And so this goes on for a while until eventually he comes back from a battle and the doctor was not there, and she's like, "Oh, I'll get you started." And she starts like feeling on him and stuff as she's like getting him hooked up to the machines. Then the doctor comes in and is like, "What the hell? What are you doing here?" It's just like super creepy. And he actually leaves his cape this time. And so she like takes that and she's like dancing with it, because she's like, it would be like on our wedding day, we would be like dancing with his cape and my dress flowing, And then as she's doing that, the doctor sees this and is like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" And she's like, "He loves me. Like, it's our love." And then he sees her box of trinkets and he's like, "What the hell is this? This is disgusting. Like, this is ridiculous." And he like throws it in the trash, and then she goes into the trash bin to search for it. Then she has like an imagination, like a dream about killing him, like she has the Force, and like Darth Vader's behind her. And then this is like where she snaps fully. She's like, "We're fully in love. He's totally going to be cool with me going to his room." Keep in mind, she's still like covered in garbage juice and stuff. And her eyes are fucking insane.
Yes, she had the snap moment, and then they drew her. I mean, she only had a couple eye moments like this throughout, but when she has her snap, and then her eyes are like, I just picture them like they are in the page. They're wide open, and then like just twitching,
just manic. Yeah. And she goes to Darth Vader's like chambers and is like, "Hey." And then like she walks in and he's got his helmet off, so we see like what, the ugly, pasty white guy that's inside of Vader's suit, and he just stares at her, and she's like, "I'm yours now and forever. We can be to." And she's as she says together, he just like stabs her through the chest with his lightsaber, and she dies. And that's it. And then he as he gets out, he like puts his helmet back on, and he's like, "Vader to the bridge, come get this garbage out of my quarters." This one I thought was fantastic too. I was like, these two were the best I think out of the bunch.
I agree. Seeing having Vader sit there and like out of nowhere have this woman just like walk into his court because he's Darth Vader. He didn't have to lock his quarter doors or whatever. I'm sure he's just sitting in his little the little chamber from again from Empire. I guess his rest chamber thing, and just like his tired eyes, like looking at her, and her like it's okay. We can be together. I know. I know secretly like we've had a thing whatnot, and like it's okay. I'm yours. You don't have to be alone. And him just being like, "Who the fuck is this
Yeah,
bitch?"
what the fuck is
What?
she? What's going on?
Yeah, it was fantastic.
I thought that was pretty great. I mean, Vader did Vader, so that's true to form. But like just her character was insane. I thought that was pretty great. Now, the last two issues of this, I kind of don't remember what they're about. Because one, there's similar stories and they kind of blend together in my head. So if you want to take points on what this fourth issue
For
was,
sure. Yeah, I will say the last two they're similar enough, and they're also very um Star Wars tried and true. I feel. So this next one is it's about a hotshot kid. He sees his dad get killed in front of him from the Empire. Like he's hiding, and he's like, they have calm to each other. He's like, I can take the shot, Dad. I can help you, but there's too many stormtroopers. His dad's like, no, don't do anything. Just get out of here. And he watches his dad get shot by the Empire.
oh, that's right, he failed his dad, or like that's how he
Mm-hmm.
feels. He's like,
Yeah,
I could have taken the shot, but I didn't. I missed my chance to save my dad, and now that I'm older, I'm gonna fight for the rebellion, and I'm going to take the shot now. That's what it was.
yeah. And so and this is like these last two was kind of like so the first one Darth Vader's seen as the hero. The second one he's seen as like this crazed force, like killing machine, like the worst boss you could possibly have. And then the third one was like a love interest. And then these last two, it like I said, it just kind of seemed this is more not necessarily what Darth Vader seems like. This is more centric on the person's story where it's yeah, he missed a shot, so now he's a rebel pilot and he's going to, he's gonna be a hero now and basically not let his dad down. And then we see Darth Vader is on this like supply factory or whatnot, and they get the coordinates to it, and he's one of the pilots there, going to this factory to like blow it up. And then Vader comes out to be in the dogfight as well, and like to shoot and stuff. And the leader of the kid who is like a younger pilot is like, okay, we're gonna like work this out
Stay
and
on target.
basically exactly, and like I'll kind of like coax Vader, and then you get him. And he's like, yeah, okay, we're gonna do it. And then the commander dies. Vader shoots it, and then he gets Darth Vader in his sight, and then he has like I don't know if it's like a panic attack or he just remembers like, oh, like
Basically, he pushes out. It's the same thing that happens with his dad. Is this commander of like the X-wing commander is like, "Hey son, you're a hotshot pilot. We trust you. You came in and said you're the best of the best. Well, guess what? I got the plan. I'm going to be the bait for Vader. And if you're the hotshot that you say you are, and that our bosses have faith in, then you shoot him before I die." And he chokes. And so the rebel X-wing leader dies, and then this kid also dies. I assume, or no? Does he get away? Or
no, he chokes hard because not only does the commander die, he missed the shot because he technically still has Vader in his sights after the commander dies, but he's like, I can't do it, and like I can't, and he runs away back to the base hangar. To which Vader's like, yeah, I'm gonna follow you back, you idiot, and then he destroys the base. He like brings his armada with him.
oh, that's right, he kills everybody. I thought that was pretty amazing ending of this one. like this one I was kind of like iffy on, and then the last page I was like, holy fuck. Like the last 2 pages I think were like him failing to get the shot and him choking after he was like, I'm such a good pilot, blah 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 at the beginning. And then the end where it's just like, and you murdered everybody on this base because you're an idiot and cocky. Yeah, good job, kid. Um, so yeah, so that was that one, and then like we said, this the last issue of this issue 5 kind of blends in um, with the other one, but they're different enough. They're close enough that I got them mixed up, but they're different enough that they are separate stories. But so what's this last one about?
So this last one, basically, there are some rebel spies that Vader's looking for on a planet. So they're at least on the planet now. And this planet's also kind of a dangerous planet. There's like venomous animalistic plants that Vader, has to cut through some. That just showing you the planet is dangerous. And the spies try to hold up in this bar. They walk into the bar and they're like, "There's no weapons," so everybody turns everything over. And the one spy has like plans to same kind of thing, like some kind of like place where they're
I almost thought that the plans were the overarching thing, like because in issue 2 the plans get stolen, and I thought maybe they were the same plans in each one.
that's true. Well, he does kind of look like the pilot, but it's a different artist, so I couldn't say for sure. But he does kind of,
No, I know it's not the same pilot, but I thought maybe it was just like the same plans.
yeah, and it could well be. I mean, that's a again, that's a story for Star Wars, is like we got to get the plans to this weapon or this shipyard or this whatever. So, you know, and that's Space Wars for you. So they're there, and the bartender's like, "Yeah, hey, like thanks for holding up here," and he's like, "You want me to hold, I'll hide the plans here for you too while you guys are sitting around." And while the bar, or maybe not bartender, but what is he? He's like the,
Bar
I
owner,
guess,
whatever.
bar owner. While he's putting that up, Vader like walks in the bar, and I will say the scene of him walking in, and the guy's like, "Hey, welcome, boys. No weapons," and then Vader just like
Yeah,
opens his lightsaber
yeah,
and starts murdering people.
yeah,
That was pretty good.
yeah. That part was cool. Um, yeah, I definitely like the idea of this one. It, like I said, it just kind of blended a little bit with the other one. But now that I'm looking at them with you talking about, them, I'm like, okay, they are different enough, but they just didn't stick out as much as issue 2 and issue 3. I think because they revolve not really around one, or like they're kind of based more in space stuff, I guess, or
I
whatever.
guess this one really kind of makes Vader out to be more of a monster, and that's just he's killing people instantly. And then as the bar owner's running with those plans, he again they foreshadow the plants being like crazy and stuff, and like when the plants get him, I guess there's like some kind of like poison
There's like
that
a toxin that like gives them psychedelic dreams, or not dreams, but makes them have like visions. And so he sees like Vader coming after him, but the whole world is coming after him. All these plants are attacking, but he's seeing Vader as like a demonic presence, almost like this thing is after him.
yeah, it's pretty wild. So like he thinks he kind of escapes to like a safe house, I guess, whatever in the
It's like a hunting cabin because there's like animal heads on the wall, but they're like fucked up looking animals. So he even freaks out from seeing them.
yeah. Yeah, there's like a wampa and a rancor head on it. Because you might know those animals from
I've heard
previous
the
Star Wars.
names.
So he's freaking out and like thinking like the things even they're coming alive, and then Vader ends up inside of the hut following him, and then this is where he really looks like you said, very monster esque. Like you see the kind of form of his mask, but he's got like huge teeth and big claws, and he throws the plans at him, and I was surprised that Vader I basically he lets the guy live. He's like takes the plans and then leaves.
Does he let the guy live? I guess the guy's tripping because his eyes is just all gigantic. But yeah,
Yeah. So Vader doesn't like personally kill him at least. So I don't know. Maybe he realizes that he's effed up from the stuff on the planet. So
or he doesn't care now that he has the plans. Whatever.
that's true. Yeah, he accomplished his mission.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the last issue. Um, Overall, I kind of liked this collection of one shots. If I have to read a Star Wars, uh, you know, trade paperback, having each issue be different and like a crazy take on what people or different scenarios that could happen in the Star Wars universe, kind of revolving around uh, Darth Vader was kind of interesting. So, but now that it's over, John, and we're done talking about it, what would you give it, and what did you think?
I liked it a lot. Again, I'm a sucker for Star Wars, and I liked that there was different perspectives of Vader. Like you said, from being the kind of like a hero esque character to being like like the crazy boss who's gonna murder me if I don't do my job correctly, to the being in love, the craze of like, oh man, this tall, I mean, I think the issue was even called Tall, Dark, and Handsome, of just this nurse obsessed with Vader. I like the idea of that, because like you definitely would not see anything like that normally in I mean, even in the cartoons, I don't think I've ever seen anything some of that. So it was fun to get that kind of a story somehow.
That
And
would be a
so yeah,
fun cartoon episode. The nurse that's in love with him or whatever.
it would be. I That would be one of my favorites. It was hysterical in comic form. I would love to see that in like an animated form. But yeah, so it was fun, and we got some. There's lots of Easter egg things for hardcore Star Wars fans, and then but otherwise, like, it all makes sense. Nothing was out of place for Vader. It wraps up nicely. And I see why this one is well liked. Because it, like you said too, if there's one in here or two in here you don't like, well, then you might like the next one. So it's a fun little romp. And I really enjoyed it. I'm gonna give this one a 9.
Wow,
Yep.
that's some. I mean, I guess I should assume it's going to be a 9 or a 10 from you.
Not always, but this one was good for me.
Okay, cool. Well, I gave the last one a 5, right?
Hmm.
Or 5.5. I think 5.5.
Yeah, you said 5 and a 5. Yeah.
So I'm going to give this one a 6.5. I had a way better time reading this, and it was a really quick read. So, um,
I need to amend too. I think I need to give it an 8, because
okay.
I think my initial like yeah, we got to talk about Star Wars had me excited, but that's true. The last two I said were kind of like not as good as the first three, so it's an 8.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Um, cool. Well, that's what we're doing, or that's the end of our Star Wars coverage for a while. But I surprisingly had a good time. Both of them were not terrible. This one was better, and I liked that. That. Thank you, patrons, for picking this one, because it was a good pick. So, you guys apparently, I don't know if you did it on purpose, but it's much appreciated. Um, but yeah, so uh, that's it for the podcast this month, except the exclusive podcast, which is on patreon.com/Planes, Trains, and Comic Books, all one word. And just like if you wanted to vote for the second, or for this one, which would have been the second episode this month, next month you'll be able to vote, like always, on the second episode of each month. But we are finishing up our Berserk coverage this month as well. Next week we'll be releasing that, and that is the last of the Golden Age arc, which is volumes 11 through 13, I believe.
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked. This is the most I've ever read of, I think, a series outside of like maybe, I don't know, Why the Last Man, or like actually like going deep. This is most for in a manga that I've ever read, and I see why you love it so much. Like, this is a really good series. I've been enjoying it more and more as it's gone on. Um, I was a
Well,
little
we'll
iffy
see
at
what you
first.
say after these ones.
Uh oh.
I mean, I love them, but this next section is, if you imagine where Guts was at the beginning and how he got there, what must happen in this last bit
That's
of
true.
arc.
I'm what I you know what I tell you what I'm most excited about is to see where we end up and get the was it the hand or
The God Hand, yeah.
the God Hand. I'm really interested to see how that finalizes, and how he becomes a member of the God Hand.
Yeah. Well, you definitely get to see it, and it's definitely fucked up. So, so yeah, we'll be doing that, releasing that at the end of this month. And once again, sorry that this one was a little bit late, but we had some technical difficulties this weekend, so we are catching up this for this one. But is Berserk should be out on Sunday, so look forward to that. But yeah, so with that, I think that's all. You got anything else, John?
Nope. Again, if you would like to be a Patreon member, get that extra episode every month, and be able to vote in our polls, patreon.com/plain trains and comic books all one word. Thanks again to our patrons, and I think we'll see them on the
On the next one.
bye.